Inside the Cave now brings you the official store to get all things Cave Crush and Inside the Cave at cavecrushshop.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Cave Crush and like our Facebook page, Cave Crush Shop.
Turn that up a little. Yeah, like that. Enough of the bullshit. It's time to go inside the cave with CB, Joe Dirt, Big Dog, Sid, Cousin Lamar, International D and Cat, and Valleyville featuring Roland, Charles Hurd, and now introducing Sly.
Coming down. Boy.
Inside the Cave.
Don't go nowhere.
Bonus show.
Let's get into this, the Big Herd Sports Update.
The Big Herd Sports Update with Charles Hurd on Inside the Cave.
Charles Hurd, how you doing, sir?
What's going on, guys? How you guys?
Good, good,
What's
good.
All right.
First of all, tell all these Chicago fans what the hell happened in practice this week.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Bulls practice.
A little scuffle went down. They say it's a little scuffle. I think it was a lot more to it than what they're going to put out there. Of course, they're not going to put all their bad blood out there. But for somebody to, you've seen fights in practice. I don't think you ever seen somebody get their jaw broke, though.
Did Michael Jordan break Steve Kerr's jaw?
No, I can't remember. I don't think he broke his jaw. I don't believe that happened.
He gave him a pumpkin head. I heard.
I remember the last time I seen something in practice was what Sprewell choking his coach. But, other than that, that to see a team that really doesn't have a star or a leader on it, and to have teammates fighting 2 games into the season, it's pretty bad. But they're not going to put a lot of information out there. But all we can hear is that they got into a scuffle, and one came out with a broken jaw. But that was it.
Oh man!
What's the black quarterback that got his jaw broke? What's his name?
Oh, that was
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
NFL, yeah.
No. This was the new guy. Yeah. Damn, what was his name?
God damn it, I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But that was pretty. I think it was over money, though, wasn't it? Was it over a bat or something like that? I want to say it was like a $200 bat or something like that.
Yeah, a small hit, ain't that?
With the Jets.
With the Jets.
It was a very, very, very small bat. And,
a couple $100
got his jaw broke. Right. It was like
hold on, time out now. Don't be talking about those small amounts of money. It's the principle.
Yeah.
Always.
When you're a millionaire, though. When you're a millionaire, I think $200.
Look here, Roland. If you in the NFL and you go and fuck up the quarterback, you fucking up the money.
It's the principle.
Right.
You can't because they talk about this. Somebody else got beat up on a basketball bet. Not a basketball bet, but they played cards on the plane, and you got to settle up. And he came to practice the next. They say you always got to settle up the next day at practice. And he
Geno
Smith.
But you guys remember that guy.
Geno.
He lost his whole. I think he got let go after that.
Yeah, the guy.
He hadn't been the same since.
He lost his whole contract. Yeah.
Because how can you trust somebody that can't pay their debts the next week?
Hey, but Roland, I'll give you a
No, I'm not talking about the quarterback. I'm talking about the player that hit the quarterback.
Right, Roland missed the whole point.
Over $200, he lost thousands of dollars over hitting somebody for $200.
Man, you let a slide on 200. He gonna take a mile.
Hey, Roland, I can give you a prime example. CP like my little brother, right?
Oh, here we go.
CP like my little brother, right?
Got you.
We had a bet. This motherfucker lost. You know what he did?
What?
This motherfucker went to the bank and got some rolls of pennies to pay his fucking debt.
Sure did. And I'll do it again, goddammit.
If it had been anybody else,
you'd have beat the black off his ass.
But you know what I did, Roland?
What?
I took those pennies and I put them to the side, right? Because CB always slipping.
Right.
So he come in one day, he needs some change. I said,
for the vending machine. For the vending machine.
I said, bro, no problem. I gave that motherfucker a handful of pennies.
No, hey.
Can't do nothing.
You know
with
what?
them
I should have took him out the rappers. Goddamn it, before I gave it to him.
Hey, he sure did. Hey, what kind of shit is that to do to your friend?
I kept them motherfuckers for a couple of months because I knew he was gonna forget. You know what I'm saying?
But the moral,
he brought his little ass back in there. I was like, yeah, I got you, bro, right here.
the moral of the story is you could tell Big Dog got money because that was a $50 bet, and he put a $50 worth of pennies in his drawer and just and waiting on me to fuck up.
But you know what? Though,
The average
I gotta say, all that to say this. I got to agree with Roland. It was all about the principle.
All about the principle, brother. Thank you, Big Dog.
The principalities.
All right.
I don't know.
All right, hold on. Before we get to the NFL, I do got a quick question. Everybody's making a big deal about. Well, hold on. Here's this big deal. Opening night in the NBA. That kid Gordon Hayward broke his leg, right? Or what is the exact? Is his career done?
Ankle, wasn't it?
No, he broke his ankle. His career's not going to be done. I think we've seen players come back from injuries like that, especially in this day and age where you got great doctors and great surgeons and healing. I mean, they got ways for you to heal a little bit faster. His career's not going to be done. I don't think he'll be ever the same. I think it's more mental when it comes down to something like that because you got to remember he went up to jump to, a routine play almost, like, that you see all the time.
The way he landed.
I was actually watching that game, man, and when that came down, here's the one thing I'm going to really say, though, man. Like, I was very disgusted with TNT. I really was. I mean, just as a person in the media, I was very disgusted because when you see something like that happen,
You're not supposed to show
you're not supposed to show it. That's why the NFL doesn't show it anymore because it's gruesome. And then they replayed it twice. I thought that was just below like the standard of being on TNT. To me, everybody else might have thought it was okay, but something as gruesome as that, man. Like you don't want, you got kids that watch it. You got, it's just anybody watches it. Me myself, I almost passed out on the couch when I seen it.
Well, I ain't surprised at all.
It was just that bad.
They show black people getting shot dead in the street, man.
Well,
on CNN. I ain't surprised.
Well, slow down, Roland. I got a conspiracy theory. I think that the basketball gods have spoken, and this is karma to Danny Ainge for trading Isaiah Thomas like he did. So this guy, this kid Gordon.
I don't know if that's gonna be. I don't know if that's any closer.
Hey, Gordon Hayward's gonna get paid regardless. Now Danny Ainge lost 6 players. You know what I mean? Trying to gamble. All that work he did, all those players he got through draft, he lost 6 players for Gordon Hayward, basically, and now Gordon Hayward's gone.
Yeah, but you never want to see somebody. You never want to see somebody go down like that, man.
I mean, hey, look. At the end of the day, Gordon Hayward's going to be okay, whether he plays again or not. His contract is guaranteed. His contract's guaranteed.
I
But
get that.
Danny Ainge got fucked.
I think sometimes we forget. As just regular people, we look at them on a different level because they make all this money. But look at that. We don't know what's going to be wrong with him later in life. He's never going to be the same. Let's just put it like that. You break your ankle like that, you're never going to be the same.
Yeah, but he still got $200 million to show for it. Would you break your ankle for $200 million? I would. I'll break it right now for two. You give me $200 million. I'll break that motherfucker right now.
Twist it around just like his was.
Hey, you give me.
It's kind of strange you would say that, CB. When I said that about LeVar Ball's son making it, and I said he's gonna be good regardless, you said that was bullshit because you're a Laker fan.
Hey, we're not talking about LeVar Ball, right? Hey, let's stick to the script, goddammit. All right,
That's what I thought,
we're
man.
talking about Danny Ainge right now. Danny Ainge.
Now we're talking about you being on that bullshit.
Danny Ainge, the basketball guys have spoken and they decide to fuck you. So that's
What you doing to my guy, man?
Man, this is way off. This is way off script. I don't know what he coming up with.
Hey, think about it, man. That was the worst thing you could do to a player. This man played for you the day after his sister, was it sister or his daughter? His sister died.
Sister.
He played for you.
You gotta remember though, it's a business, man.
Right.
It's a business at the
Right.
end of the
It's
day.
a business, and the basketball guys have spoken.
That's what it is. So.
The basketball guys have
All right,
spoken.
I think this
I'm
is
sure
where.
me and you have been. People have been fired in worse ways, man.
Hey.
Like I'm sure of it.
And then look, Roland. Hey, look, heard. Isaiah Thomas recruited Hayward for him, and you traded him. And so now what happens? Now you don't have Isaiah Thomas, you don't have Jay Crowder, you don't have Avery Bradley, you don't have Olenek, and it's one other guy, and now you don't have Gordon Hayward. See?
It's gonna take a lot for me to feel bad for these guys because
I don't feel bad for them either.
They just changed jobs, so they just changed to these same jobs.
But me and you know, when you're talking about millionaires, it's not about the money anymore. Millionaires and billionaires is not about the money; it's about the competition. And there's people like at General Motors, they'll give you a bonus to quit. There's people that have retired or presidents that left General Motors with $500 million and were still upset,
Right.
even though they got $500 million. It's because of their status. Danny Ainge looks like a fucking fool today. You gave up 6 players for one guy, and now you have nothing.
Say that they're in a better situation, though.
They have
When
nothing.
you really look at it,
You have nothing, Hurt.
I'm not saying the Celtics. I'm saying when you say that, he put Isaiah Thomas in a better situation. I mean, you're going to go to.
Yeah, I'm talking about Danny
Ainge.
Ainge.
Chance to win the ring. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about Danny Ainge.
Nobody expected that to happen on the first day of the 2018.
If I gave up, look, it's like this. Hey, big dog. If
I don't wish that on no athlete, man. That guy
we're not talking about the athlete. We're not talking about the athlete. If I gave up my wife for 6 side bitches, right? My wife, and my wife. Now look, and then my wife end up.
Just 6.
Hey, and my wife end up going to a better situation. End up getting married to a millionaire, whatever like that. And then, and then 6 of my side bitches die.
Hold on, guys.
What you talking about?
I mean,
Where are we going with this?
who looks stupid? Who do you feel bad? Who do you feel bad for? The side bitches or me?
Let me get the disclaimer in there. Now, thoughts and ideas of CB do not reflect the rest of the co-hosts on Inside the Cave.
It's the truth, man.
Okay, hold on, CB.
Right for Donald
Go with
Trump.
the rest of that bullshit.
I mean, it's the truth. It is the
Hey,
truth.
Hurt. I asked him earlier, man, if he's writing material for Donald Trump.
It's the truth, man. I'm telling you like it is, man.
CB, that's the biggest load of bullshit I've heard you say on
It's the. I'm just comparing myself to Danny Ainge. I gave up 6 people for one person.
Well, no, I will say this though about if you want to talk about sports, if you're an adult and you still tied to a team with these fucking owners being as crooked as they are, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
It's all about the players.
Yeah. You can't even. Yeah.
Man, fuck talking about I'm a diehard, let's say Bulls fan when you don't like nothing about the ownership.
Yeah.
I tell you what, and Big Dog, you're absolutely right. So here's if you guys really look at it, about 7 years ago when it really heavy into like fantasy football and fantasy basketball, and maybe even longer than that. The reason why it got so popular, it got so demanded. Yeah, the reason why it got so demanded is because it's all about the players. Like, you don't draft the owner, you draft the players, and you liking those players. And here's the biggest part about it. The reason why it's so popular, man, is because it made fans or made us sit and watch games longer. Because now you're watching every game because you want to see what your player on a different team is going to be. Nobody's really hooked on teams anymore.
Yeah,
They're more loyal to players than they are to teams. I remember back in the day when this was your team and that was it. Like I was told somebody, my grandmother, she was a diehard Washington Redskins fan, and she didn't care who the players were really. If you're a Redskin, you were a Redskin. But nowadays, it's more like, oh, I don't really like the players of the Redskins. I might take one player off of there, one player off of Dallas. Back in the day, nobody did that because they were rivals, but you're starting to do it now.
I think that should only apply maybe in high school. You're going to be loyal to your high school or some shit.
Yeah.
But once you get outside of that, man, it's about setting yourself up financially, to get put in a good situation.
Well, I would say colleges too. Colleges too. Colleges are very. Once you get away from college, it's starting to be crazy. They're actually about to start paying college players. You guys are going to see that here soon. Wow. They're quietly creeping up to it. So it's been in the back pages for a minute, but that's one of the big things. They're talking about 2020. They're going to start paying some of these players. I don't know if you guys just seen this, but if you were injured as an NCAA player and you played a sport, now you can go ahead and get a payment out from the NCAA. So they're starting to come around. Yeah.
All right.
It's gonna be real tricky, man, when you got, let's say maybe the football team that's supporting the whole school.
Yeah, the football team does, and Dog, you're right, man. Like, I think they said like 90% of the campuses, the football team supports the rest of the sports. The rest of the programs. You're right. So that just tells you how much revenue is coming in.
Paying players is the easy route out. Is the easy way out to me, because the thing is you can't pay players on certain teams. We only look at the top 12 teams as, they're making all this money. You have football programs that's losing money. So how you pay those 80-something players?
The way that they do it is it's a collective pot. So it's not about like a school has to pay them. It's about the NCAA. They take it from all the schools and they collectively pay every player that's in the NCAA.
But instead of doing that,
I think it's going to be a bad thing, though. I think it's going to be bad because now you're an employee and now you're able to get fired and get taken away from. So when you're an employee of the team, you're liable to a lot of different things. So whereas an NCAA player, you have a little bit more leverage. You can stay in school, if you got kicked off the team or something like that. But now they can legally say, okay, listen, you're on here as an employee. We can let you go.
Well, here's the thing. This is how you solve it. How you solve this problem, you don't have to pay the players because you have star players who's going to go into the NFL. You got guys who are just going to go right into whatever career they was going to school for. And then you got guys that are just going to go off in the ether. All you have to do is allow the guys to either get jobs or make money off of their name and their likeness. That's all you got to do. Every other profession allows you to do that, except for basketball and football. And listen, no knock against the white players, but it just seems very suspicious that those are the two sports that are heavily employed with black players. Because you can do it in golf, you can do it in baseball, you can do it in all these other sports. You can, even as an Olympian, you can sign a contract. Because do y'all remember that player that used to run kicks back for Boston College? He was dope as heck. He was a white dude. He was also what they call a freestyle ski jumper, where you come down that long hill and then you go up the big ramp and then you do like a couple moves and land. He was one of those. I think, was it Jeremy Bloom or something like that?
I don't remember, but Roller, I can tell you this much: ain't no black guy going off no damn hill on no skis.
You missing what I'm saying?
I don't know. Yeah,
you missing what I'm saying?
No,
you don't. Because what I'm saying is that the Jeremy Bloom dude had to give away his eligibility because in that Olympic sport, the only way you don't get paid by the Olympics, you get paid to train by sponsorships. And he took him to court and everything because he was trying to say, listen, this has nothing I'm not making no money off of football. This is only for this ski shit. And because he signed sponsorship deals for his ski shit, he actually lost his eligibility. He didn't play no more for Boston College. That's the double standard of the rhetoric. Now, this is a white guy who got caught up in that shit. So I'm not saying it's just against black people, but what I'm saying is it's a sport that is heavily employed by black people, and it just every other sport allows you to make money outside of the sport, even as an amateur player. And I think that all the talking heads are being hypocrites when they talk about, they keep screaming it's pay the players. You don't have to pay the players. It's amateur sports. But how about you allow them to do other shit than go to school and play football? I'm allowed to get a summer job if I go to college. Why can't a football player? That's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on some of those points. Even when they do pay the players, man, it's not going to be a lot of money. Like, we know that if you're on a scholarship, if you're a scarlet athlete, most of your stuff is covered except for a small portion of it, where you have a leftover cost. I don't foresee them paying these guys a whole bunch of money. I believe it's going to be small portions of money, and it's still not going to be able to make them survive, to be able to help their families or do whatever else. We got to remember, it's 10% of players that make it from college ranks to the NFL. So some of these guys have to, been playing football or basketball their whole life, don't know anything else, get passed to college or high school, elementary school because they're great at a sport, and now they got to turn around and try to go use a degree that they probably didn't earn, and try to figure out life because they can't play a sport. I think that's the bigger issue that we have on hand versus just trying to pay these guys to do something else. But I
agree with you there, brother. I definitely do.
Sly, you was trying to get in there, son?
Yeah, I heard. I got a quick question. You said that with the professional teams, NBA, NFL, you said more fans are gravitating toward the players instead of the team. Do you find that these same fans are purchasing personal player jerseys or not? Because so many players are being, traded to other teams. They were teams for 1 year, 2 years, and I know myself, I had some jerseys, and I had to stop buying them because there was no loyalty with the players to my favorite teams anymore.
Damn.
Well, they're starting to purchase more jerseys. You're starting to see jerseys changing all the time. So the one thing that they're starting to do now is, like you see at Nike come out with these new jerseys. They're changed them a little bit. You start to see little different teams sponsor the logos on them. But jersey sales aren't what they used to be. I don't think people are just wearing them like they used to. You're starting to see more of teams creating apps for different players or followers on Twitter or different type of things. You're starting to see different companies pay players to be on social media platforms. So that's how they're starting to follow them. It's not so much of buying jerseys anymore or shoes. Shoes will always be the one way that you can support a player. If you were a Jordan fan, per se, you were going out getting Jordans or Pippins or, something like that. But nowadays, they're starting to come back around, and you're starting to see them re-release some of these guys, and some of these guys are getting shoe contracts. So that's how you can support the current players, but it's not jersey sales anymore. No.
All right. Okay. If you guys ain't got anything else, I'm going to let Herd give us some key games for the NFL this week.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
So last week, man, I can tell you for sure. I cannot say which way the NFL is going to go from week to week, man. But I think Kansas City is still kind of looking a little bit dominant still. So I'm gonna go with them on Thursday Night Football against Oakland Raiders. Oakland, I don't know what's really happening to them, man. Their wide receivers aren't really doing a lot. Quarterback play is kind of suspect as well. So that's the Thursday night game. We're going to start off Oakland. It's going to go down to Kansas City, I believe, and Kansas City will be 6-1 on the season. Another game on Sunday, Carolina Panthers, Chicago Bears, man. I've kind of done doubting the Chicago Bears, but I think Carolina Panthers will take this game. They're 4-2 in the year. Chicago's 2-4. Now that the division in Chicago's kind of open, Chicago might have a chance to kind of come back with Aaron Rodgers going down last week, guys. That's another big injury that was out there.
Whoa. You said Chicago has a chance of coming back.
No.
I mean, the whole division's open, man. Do you think Green Bay's going to take it? You think Detroit's going to take it?
I think the Bears just got lucky 2 times against Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
You know what, man? I'll tell you what. I think the Bears are better than I thought they was, man. I was the biggest critic at the beginning of the season. That was the biggest critic at the beginning of the season, man. They have a great running game. The defense is not as bad as I thought. Of course, quarterback play is kind of new to them, but I seriously, I would say I gave them 4 games at the beginning of the year. They're 2-4 right now. I would probably say the Bears probably win 6 games this year. And you never know with this division, man. I think if you can sneak in 8 games for them, they might win a division. So it's going to be pretty close for the Chicago Bears when it comes down to it. I would have said, like, if you asked me a week ago if this was a big game, New Orleans and Green Bay, I would have said yes. 2 great quarterbacks going against each other. But Green Bay doesn't have Aaron Rodgers. New Orleans, I believe, is going to take this game. Both teams will be 4-2. And I believe we might see one more game won by the Green Bay Packers the rest of the year if Aaron Rodgers can't come back. I don't believe he will come back. Jacksonville and Indy, man. Jacksonville Jaguars, another team. I told you guys last week I'm pretty up on Jacksonville, man. I believe they'll win a game against Indy this week. They'll be 4-3 going into next week's games. A good game that coming up is LA and Arizona. I really do see. I like the way that Arizona stepped it up last week, and they started to play. I think you guys asked me last week why I like Arizona so much. Arizona starting to come back into their own. I want to say the Rams is going to probably win this game though, but I believe the Rams will be 5-2 going into next week. Trying to look down the list, guys, and see if we got any other good games going on. Washington
The Sunday night game.
Yeah. Well, you think the Atlanta New England game is good?
That's the rematch.
Yeah, but it's not completely the same 2 teams, man. I believe that one of these teams will blow the other one out. I know Atlanta's going up to, I believe, New England in this game. Tom Brady does not let a lot of people come up to his house and win. So I'm going to take the New England in that game. I don't like the way Atlanta's looking right now. But the Monday night game, man, Washington-Philly, I think that's going to be the best game of the whole week. I think they did a great job of picking this Monday night football game. Washington Redskins are looking good. And then Philly, a dominant team at 5-1. I think the Philly fans might be happy that Washington's coming into their place. They'll walk away 6-1, I believe, after Monday night. Any other games that you guys wanted to touch on?
Did you say anything about Dallas?
No, I didn't, because they're playing San Francisco this week, man. Dallas is 2-3. I think San Francisco's will be 0-7. This might be the first time that you see a San Francisco team. I think they'll lose every game this year. Then next year, if their coach doesn't do well,
nobody loses every game.
Head coach's job.
Nobody loses.
Does anybody know if has there ever been 2-0-15 teams?
I don't think so. No, I can tell you for certain that has never been, because I believe, there's never been 2-0-15. I don't think it's going to happen this year, though.
So if you're saying San Francisco's definitely going 0-4, then that means Cleveland's going to win a game. Who they beat?
Yeah, I think Cleveland's going to win one game, and especially how this year is shaping up, man. Like the year in itself is just every game that you kind of look at, you're like, what in the hell is really like going on? Cleveland. It's hard to pick out a game that I could say that they will win for sure, man. But they're staying pretty tough in games, man. Some of the games they're staying pretty tough.
They have. I will say that.
I think they'll just catch a game. They're going to catch more of the games. Both of these teams, by far, man. Like I believe Is it Cleveland or is it San Fran? I think they lost like every game by like 3 points or less. So that tells you that these guys are fighting pretty hard. It doesn't mean that they're going out there just giving up the game. So it's hard to go 0-15 or 0-16, 0-15 in the season, man, because it's you're a pro player. Anything can happen any given day. But I don't like the chances of San Fran. I like the chances of Cleveland for no other reason to not go 0-15 on the year.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hurd, for this week's Sports Update.
Thank you for listening to Inside the Cave. Inside the Cave now brings you the official store to get all things Cave Crush and Inside the Cave at cavecrushshop.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Cave Crush and like our Facebook page, Cave Crush Shop.
Inside the Cave.
Inside the Cave. Inside the Cave. Inside the Cave. You're on the #1 show, Inside the Cave.
3 Lee Films.